This is my perspective here. I think sometimes as human beings, we are so programmed and so routine, so habitual. It's the ego that wants to keep us in our habits because it's predictable. And as long as we're predictable, we're controllable. Hey everybody, welcome back to Into the Veil. For those of you that are new, I'm Rachel, and I welcome you. I am here working with, I consider him to be a guide. His name is Anku. And Ken and I, on Arkansas Bigfoot, have spent some time exploring and working to understand what are commonly known to be Sasquatch. Anku said that they consider themselves to be the people. Many know them to be Sobe, Bigfoot. There are a multitude, a plethora, genre of identifiers for these magnificent individuals. And what I have been graced with is being able to communicate with them. And I focus primarily on Anku, in as much as he is their leader. I work with the rods oftentimes for you, more than for myself, in as much as he is good to give us, call it validation, clarification, confirmation on the information that I'm receiving. This one in my right hand, and I do try to hold very still, this one in my right hand will tap my heart for a yes. He already knows where I'm going, and it will go over my right shoulder for a no. Thank you. And I'm just getting grounded a little bit. The rods are really conducive to energy in as much as they are copper. And it helps kind of allow the energy to flow through me, I guess is a good way to put it. He often will speak what he has to say, but other times he will also give visuals, feelings in my body. Anku, Where do you stand from me now? Right behind me. Now, our experience with the people is one that is very multidimensional. Is that a good way to describe it? Sorry, I had a finger cramp. Let me see if I can reposition these. Like I said, I try to hold very still. But, again, our experience with them is one of multidimensionality. That was a mouthful. And he confirms. Many have experienced these guys in a very physical plane, our 3D world. And often UFOs have been connected with some of these, and some of these, he's reminding me, have been very aggressive, very it's just that their energy is not at all friendly toward man. And the last time I heard one of these reports, I very clearly heard exiled. And I found it interesting because, you know, the 3D world is kind of 1D, 2D, 3D is kind of at the base of all these dimensions. And it makes me wonder if when they aren't supporting life, and Anku, if you'll correct me please if I'm misunderstanding any of this, if these energies are not supporting life, not supporting, I feel like he's saying a just cause, is that correct? Not quite. Just action is closer. If they are committing anything that goes against their code, if you will, or their standard, that essentially they're dimensionally exiled, and oftentimes it is in our experience that we will maybe encounter these. He said it's rare, but it does happen. He said we are stellar beings. Thus, the interdimensional aspect. Oh, he's going to be one of those nights. He's got a great sense of humor. What else? What would you like to talk about, Anku? I feel like he's wanting to talk about the vibrational shift of the earth. And he is again making reference to the photon belt. Saying that he was trying to explain our need to expand our ability to hold light. Light is also information, data, if you will. It's sort of like adding memory to your computer so that you can progress faster, move faster, and process the information in a way that does not harm your physical body. He said the earth is moving, vibrating. Her frequency is much faster now, much grander. And she's peaking between 60 and sometimes 90 hertz. His energy is picking up, and he's very excited about this. He said many of you are experiencing a degree of time slip, a degree of, I think he's referring to glitches in the matrix. And some of it is confusing at the moment. He said this is twofold. Some of it is the natural evolution of the Earth Mother. And some of this is encouraged, I believe is the word he gave me. Is that correct? Some of this is being encouraged by the actions of what you know to be CERN and HARP, where frequencies are being, call it, messed with. And it's causing your shifts to be more rapid. We would prefer that they were a little more gradual, because it is very difficult for the human mind sorry, I had to stop for a moment. It's getting potent in my body. It is difficult for the human mind to process this data. His terminology sometimes seems strange, but data is just information. It's just light. It's just an increase in consciousness also, he said. But he said it is very difficult for humans to move quickly with it because of their design. They need to process certain points of data in order that it might ground. I felt like I was seeing the root of a tree. Is this all correct, Anku? Reasonably. You know, I should stop for a moment from myself and tell you, a lot of the information that comes to me from him is by frequency. And so when it hits my space, my ear, my energetic field, it gets interpreted by my brain, my mind, in a way that I can verbally express it. And oftentimes I find that our English vocabulary is a little bit limited to be exactly accurate, but he does a very good job. Thank you. Yeah. He said there is caution because for those of you that are, call it, catching up, your body is extremely stressed. He said you are feeling it in ways you have never felt stress before. And it may not be, I feel like he's saying it may not be a specific event. Like your family may not be falling apart, your job may not be falling apart, but it's just like you just feel frazzled. I feel like I'm seeing frayed ends of a wire is exactly what I'm seeing. And he said it's very, very important that you remain connected to that source energy within you to help you in that flow, in this transition, because as the earth moves forward, speeds up, you must, he said that's not fair. He stopped me. Must is a command, and I will not command you. It is your free will. But in order to evolve with her, it is essential that you increase your vibration also. For some of you, this is parting with individuals in your life that are not working toward the same goal. For some of you, it is leaving a job that I get the sense of depression or anxiety. It's just that sense of crying before going to work, crying when you get home, perhaps. And I'm going to set these down for just a moment. It is just dreading your day. If you have dread in your day, something is off. Something is not working for you. He said it is worth evaluation in order to get the sense of picking apart, to pick apart what doesn't serve you anymore. Is this correct? Thank you. And realizing it's okay to change. It's necessary to invite change. Sometimes, and this is me, sorry, this is my perspective here. I think sometimes as human beings we are so programmed and so routine, so habitual. You know, it's the ego that wants to keep us in our habits because it's predictable. And as long as we're predictable, we're controllable. When we are those rebels, those light workers that say, you know what? I'm willing to change. I'm willing to gamble and see what's on the other side of this. Because one thing I've noticed about light workers is they are perfectionists. There's a real fear of failure. And it keeps them sometimes from wanting to try new things, from wanting to explore new avenues. And perhaps as we are escalating in our own frequency, perhaps it's intended that we do try new things or open our minds up at least to other potentials. All right, brother. We've got a good question. As we move into 5D, are we close to this transition? Yes. Many of you will see it in your lifetime, he said. Moving into the 5D is a change in consciousness, whereby it is also a change in perspective. And somebody just stepped over here to my right. Hello. I feel like I'm surrounded at the moment. My body is just goosebumps. So the 5D energy, it will be, is it yet a separate earth, Anku? Not quite. It will become a physically separate earth. But he shows it to me a little bit like, I don't want to say a blanket, it's lighter than that, much lighter, but like something that lays over us. And many of us are like 1 foot here in the 5D, 1 foot much more in the 4D, because we're becoming critically aware that space and time are not what we thought they were. Most of you have left the 3D mindset. And it's sort of like, we talked about how these energies can kind of, I think he had given us reference to a fish tank. And it's a little bit like in the 3D, we're these fish, and we are in this fish tank. And there's sort of a mirror around the inside of the fish tank, whereby the fish have the sense that there are many more fish than there actually are. But ultimately, those fish cannot see out of the fish tank. But what stands in the dimension around our little bowl can easily see into it. And with that, I feel like part of what's happening in this transition, in the way that he shows it, is that many of us are still able to view the 3D world. Sometimes we are resonating at such a fast pace in our growth that the 3D world acts as if they can't see or recognize us. Now, for Ken and I, we notice it a lot when we're in stores, in traffic, in certain conditional environments. And it's just like, could you not see what was going on here? And I have to really question, can they? Maybe if we're running a little bit lower that day, or have more base thoughts of what needs to be taken care of in the 3D, maybe that makes it better. But when we're just in our element, we notice a lot more. But there are a lot of electronic glitches going on, magnetic glitches going on, acts that defy gravity. There are portals being opened by some of these facilities that they don't even know what they're doing yet. I mean, he's clearly showing me. Is that correct? They have a sense. I feel like he's saying they have a sense about what they're doing. But there is concern over levels of responsibility, to be politically correct, he says. And part of the reason that there are more and more sightings of UFOs, call them UAPs, is because those actions are affecting other dimensions. And they have a vested interest in what's going on in our dimension because it's a direct effect. You cannot touch, we've often talked about throw a pebble in the pond. You cannot throw that pebble and not affect everything. And there's huge accountability in that. And some of the energies that are coming through or have been, he said, are very helpful. He said, do not be deceived. There are many helpers and friends that are trying to work with man in their evolution. There are some that are coming from planes of existence that have their own agenda, is the way that he's putting it. He's very cautious about calling things good, bad, positive, negative, because ultimately everything is in divine order, he said. However, it is important for you to be aware of, because if you're not on point, with your energetic sphere, your personal energetic bubble, and you are not using your feeling centers in the way they were given to you to be used, you could be manipulated, maneuvered. Challenges could come. He said there has always been an attack on light, on higher knowledge, on health and well-being, because that's where your personal power lies. When you are balanced and you're healthy and you feel good, it all becomes magic. When you allow yourself to be drugged down by the illusions, the creations of some of these energies, and you're not able to walk through that veil of illusion, you're just an open target. He shows me a huge target. So that tells me you are just an open target and you are being used. And many of these energies are dependent on the adrenochrome that runs through your body, and you are just like a battery source for that. You are enabling facets. What's the word, Anku? Essentially. Ken said it perfectly. Interdimensional. Is that right? Interdimensional parasites. Essentially. He said it's harsh, but it's true. He said we guard many gates. Speaking of interdimensional, we guard many of these gates, these portals, and our job has been a full one in trying to protect man. He's shaking his head and he said, but y'all, I get the sense of him saying, you know, you're kind of accountable here too. Like, it's really, they do their job. They work vehemently to protect us, to assist us, to encourage us. And it's not just the people. It's the higher levels of who we are. Sometimes call them guides, angels, loved ones, spirit, divine essence. All of these things are here to support us. But our free will is trump. It trumps everything. The moment we say, you know, blah, 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 I don't know. Like, we're speaking with no confidence. We're speaking with no authority. When we fall victim to verbally, especially verbal, it's bad enough if it's internal. But when we speak it, there are plenty of supporting energies to step up and support exactly how you feel. He said, be accountable. Okay, not surprising. So, I'm going to cap this off. I will continue it with him if we have to stop. But, okay. But, understand that support is equal. When you are verbally confirming positive, beautiful, joyous things for your life. He said, remember the word enjoy. It's not E-N-J-O-Y, it's I-N-J-O-Y. Be in joy. Find what you love. Find what brings you joy. Those supporting energies want to help you. They want to be present in your life, but you have to be present in your life. You have to want that more than you want your misery. And I'm not sure. That's not feeling like Anku, so it may be whomever stepped up over here. But look, we're going to continue this. Be in your joy. Find what you love. Start with the small and let it grow. Say thank you for every beautiful little nugget that you get. because gratitude is going to magnify what you love and what you enjoy. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry that the energies have drained the battery a little bit. It happens. Again, my name is Rachel. If anyone would like assistance in the transition that we're going through between the 3D, the 5D, and some of this time-space stuff that we've got going on, please reach out to me. My email is in the description box as well as the About section. I've missed you all fiercely. Anku has also. And I pray for you that you will all be blessed. Thank you. Have a good night.